Good morning. This is The Choice 2023 on Equa Television International. We are glad that you could join us this morning so that we'll continue from where we stop. Yes, the spirit is high. There are so much anxiety, people waiting, to hear what INEC will start saying concerning result. But I'm assuring you, once you glue to Equa TV International, definitely as they come, you will definitely see them, as they are flowing. And today I have able people in the studio, as I told you, is a continuity. Well, I'm Sambo Solomon and I have Joyce Dekada and then Sele Elisha with me.
Morning. Good morning, Sambo Solomon. Morning, Sele.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Great.
Yeah. I saw people like taking over INEC. Now I can see Professor Mahmoud, in every state, like he's duplicating himself, announcing some kind of result that is, I don't know how to describe it, but I think they are not being fair to INEC. That's my own take. And I think that would not do good to the system, particularly seeing at what is going on. If you recall before now, people are really eager, anxious for the 25th of April that it will come, and then they will go out there and then make their choice. February, I beg your pardon, and then today is 26. That one will say 25th is a bygone. Now people are not talking about voting. Yes, there are some people that INEC permit them to vote today from 8 o'clock and stop by 12 because of the delay they had, which they confirmed that everything that went on there was genuine, and they agree that they should continue voting. So by now, some people are still voting, while in some areas, collation is still going. Very soon we'll start hearing the official results, flowing. So I don't know why some people on their own will just take over INEC and will start announcing results, and they'll be telling you that this person is winning in this place, this person is winning in this place. I think is not fair to INEC and to the unity of the country.
Possibly they are actually taking the statistics from their own polling units, and with all, even though I remember yesterday I said that the conducting of this election is important for it to be free and fair more than the result. But it's obvious right now that our attention has moved totally away from the election. Right now, we just want to see the result. And so people are tempted to tell you what is obtainable, even though just like you said, you can see so many people taking over. But I just hope that that won't bring chaos and fight. Because we already saw enough of that yesterday in some polling units. So just like you said, I just hope we will just step back and let INEC do their work. They have already assured us that from noon, so that means in the next 30 minutes or so, we should start seeing these results flowing. So I'll just employ people officially, officially. So whatever result you've heard anywhere, you should discard any rumors, because just like we said, some bloggers, people are just trying to make money from that. So you should just relax and let INEC do their job, because that is why they were being officiated to do that. So let us let them do their job.
Well, yesterday I talked about the fact that there are crisis entrepreneurs everywhere. So whatever they do is for them to just ensure that crisis erupt, and because they benefit from it. So they are not happy when people keep giving report that, oh, election has been peaceful in my area. So they do everything possible to disrupt the process. We've had reports already from places where INEC electoral materials were burned, talks, attacks on places, went away with some of the materials and uncalled for. And for the Idemili, not in Anambra, that we also got report last night, the election didn't hold. And we also had a driver that came there with an empty ballot box, spoke about the fact that he didn't see the official that he was coming with because he jumped out of the car and all of that. So all these things are, if you ask me, I'll tell you, I just get to just disrupt the process. But like we always say, people should remain calm. Don't just get angered by all those situations and decide to resort to violence. It's just their deliberate plan to cause that disruption so that at the end of the day, election will be cancelled in your area. So refuse to be triggered, refuse to be angered, ensure that you stick to the right thing and you do it. So for all the people, the bloggers, the individuals, social media parading results that actually false, people should not hold on to such results. INEC had already assured, just like Sele said, from noon today they will start collation, and that's when we will start getting the report. But recall, we talked about the fact that beyond voting, ensure that you wait at your polling unit till the vote is counted, so that you take note of the number. So at the end of the day, when result is announced, you compare it and see. When you see that it's contrary to what was announced, that way you can seek legal actions on it. So that is important. So for you getting a report from your polling units, taking note of the result from there, I think it's okay. But for you to be at home, relax, and somebody just keeps sending figures, some of these people are just trying to do that just to trigger you, make you angry, or just make sure that there's some kind of disruption of peace and all of that. So I think people should just remain calm. These results will definitely be announced, and from noon today, as they come in, we keep informing people about that. But I think it's worthy to still call the attention of INEC to some of the reports we are getting. Like as at yesterday, while we were still monitoring some of the things, as at 12 p.m., we still saw in some part of Jos how people are still at their polling units. I like the doggedness coming from the voters, like, we are going to be here, we must cast our vote, even though we also got report that some people got tired at some point and they just left because they've been there since morning until that 11 Kokona LG. That's from One Joy. She said we couldn't cast our vote yesterday, that the INEC officials arrived at 23 minutes past 10, and then the polling unit is 002. Only one was working. So the one that was being used, like, there was delay, it's slow, and then just few people were able to vote, like, and then so many of them were more like deprived of voting. They could not vote as that. These reports, the time that this report was sent, which is today, so many people were not able to actually cast their vote. I think the INEC and primary school Gara, nobody should be deprived. Like we said yesterday, it is their fundamental human rights. This is the time when Nigerians are supposed to exercise the civic responsibility. So whatever the challenge is, like the INEC chairman kept assuring that they are going to look at some of these problems. As reports come in, they deal with the issue. So we're also saying, for all not in Anambra State, telling us that yes, INEC actually send materials and people are voting right now there. So for all the places that we got reports, by the time materials have been said, please let us know so that we'll given the opportunity to exercise his right. We shouldn't disenfranchise anybody, and there's no need to frustrate the process. Like, why would people go and have to wait from 6 a.m.? Some people went as early as 5 up until 1 p.m. No, we should be proactive. Let's always put measures in place that will avert all of these things. We talk about voter apathy. We saw that in 2019 election. We don't want a repeat of that. If we're giving grace and opportunity for today for voting to continue, let's also take note of the polling units that elections didn't hold. Let's ensure that we make provisions so that these people as well will be represented. So people should just get the right information from the right source. Don't just rely on social media information that will just instigate violence. Some people check the source. Sometimes I always ask people, when reports come, where did you get it? And you hear, I just had it from somebody here, I just had it from. So which source? Who is your source of information? If it is not valid, discard that information. I think that is worthy to note.
Well, get the right information from the right source. And if you are here, glued to your TV, Equa TV International, then you are at the right place. Then all those reports, so that we will report them, whatever is happening, whether positive or negative, definitely we will send it to the appropriate quarter, because the authorities are really listening. So I just want us to just go through briefly the papers that we have today, so that we'll see what the papers are saying.
Okay.
Quickly, maybe we'll take...
Okay, let's begin with the Sunday Tribune. And then on the Sunday Tribune, we have this story that says what incoming president must do to save Nigeria. And that CC arrests suspected vote buyer with 194 million naira. That's new notes. in Kaduna. And you can get details of the story on page 7. Boko Haram launches attack on voters, injures 5. That story is on page 5. We also have this hunger is too much. Aged voters tell politicians. Detail is on page 2. And the bold headline on the Sunday Tribune is on Nigeria decides. Anxiety as Nigerians wait for results, with the rider INEC to begin results collation at noon today. Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, Kwankwaso win polling units. We also have talks, snatch ballot boxes, beavers in Lagos, Kogi, and Edo. Rescheduled poll in 141 PUS holds today in Bayelsa, and you can get details of this report on page 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the picture story there is on Atiku, presidential candidate of PDP, Peter Obi, and then that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC. So you can do well to grab the Sunday Tribune to get details of this story.
Right, let's take a look at the Voice of Liberty, still on the newspaper review, where we have presidential poll. Tinubu vote says, I will win. You can read more of that story inside the paper. Still on 2023, Atiku optimistic about winning, but say Naira redesign has traumatized Nigerians. Still on the 2023 election, talks now target Beavers machine, not ballot boxes. This is coming from Yakubu. And we have Tinubu defeat Peter Obi, Atiku in Obasanjo polling units. CBN replaces Nwazobi with Ian Isa Abdul Momi as spokesperson. And still on 2023 election monitoring team attack in Abuja and Imo. Still on presidential election, Buhari publicly displays ballot, says, I voted for Tinubu. And we have the big story on the paper on 2023 elections outcome. Mustn't disunite Nigeria, coming from Shetima. And I would really love us to actually talk about this. It's still in relation to the fact that I think I want to link it to some of this, like say, rumors of the results that INEC is supposed to have. And we can see that the running mate for the presidential election of the APC is actually saying that the election outcome mustn't, disunite Nigerians. And I think we have to emphasize the fact that regardless of who wins this election, whether it's your candidate or the other, we have to make sure that we put our heads together to make sure that it doesn't disunite us. Because already on social media especially, we can see people, especially youth, attacking one another because this is the candidate I vote, this is what I stand for, and then the results are not out, but yet we can see violence. Because if we're going to look at violence, it's not just physically, but even verbally, we can see people attacking one another.
Social media violence.
Social media violence, like on social bullying. You can even you call that bullying, because at a point in time you feel, because if I am for this party and then you don't agree with me, we have to come to a point of knowing that we have different ideologies. So what I stand for, you must not stand for me. We have to learn to disagree or to agree at the end of the day. Thank you so much. So I just hope that we'll go to that point in this country, that no matter who wins this election, and I think there have been emphasis on this, that let it be that way, where the transmission of power from one administration to another, that we'll see that there is peace, that there will be no bloodshed at the end of the day. People kept praising the former president, Jonathan, on how he, he willingly, submitted before even the results were out. He made the call. So we are not using him as a yassi, but in as much as if you've done something great, we have to applaud you for it. And we hope that that will be the same. We saw the president, he had a committee head by his boss, Mustafa. So we just hope that we will just be united no matter what happens, that we will not allow our own personal interest to affect the nation building at the end of the day. So I think that's all on the Voice of Liberty.
Okay, I have the nation with me, and it says Buhari, Tinubu, Obi, Atiku, Shetima win units. Obasanjo, Obaseki orders defeated. That you can find on page 9. Labour Party take 9 out of 13 Aso Rock polling units. INEC loses 11 beavers machine as talks target device. Voting holds today in 141 Bielsa polling units. Shift Esan North and South constituency polls. And then we have the big story here that says Tinubu ahead in Southwest, Northwest, North Central. And the writers say Obi leads in Southeast, South, Atiku trails. High turnout as Nigerians elect president and National Assembly members. 5 killed in accident, election day violence. I think this analysis that is coming, this person winning in this, I believe it's coming based on the polling units. They're just trying to take statistics from the polling units, how this particular aspirant, performed, in this polling unit. Like Joyce said earlier, yes, polling units that you are there, and then the result, when the result was counted and you are there and you are sure that's the exact result, that one you can boast of it because you are there. Even if you voted there and then you are not there when the counting was going, when the final result was announced, you can't even boast. Is your polling unit, but you are not there. You understand? But when you are there, when everything is concluded, that's when you can say exactly this is what happened in your polling unit. But for now, it is only the polling unit that you can boast of.
Well, it's amazing. The bold headline, of course, is actually captivating. But this paper saying Tinubu ahead in Southwest, Northwest, North Central. People want to ask on what perimeter, these results being shared. Obi leading in Southeast, and then South, Atiku, and high turnout in Nigeria. High turnout as Nigerians elect president, National Assembly member. Well, when people read the detail, I think they will get the more information. But the truth is that, like we said earlier on, all these are coming not from INEC. This is not a report from INEC. You get, because INEC is going to start collation from noon today. So this is not an information from INEC. Of course, we know INEC will definitely give the final verdict at the end of the day based on what the people elect. And that's why we keep telling people to keep following up and then protect your votes. Be sure of what is coming out in your polling unit so that when you hear it, it must align and all of that. So, we await INEC's results.
Okay.
Next. Okay, let's move to the first news paper. We have this story on election that says LP flag bearer Obi floors Atiku, Tinubu inside Aso Rock. And we also have this one that says Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, Kwankwaso win polling units. We also have another story still on election. EFCC officials visit Obi's house polling unit. Well, you can find the detail on First Newspaper. We also have large turnout, late arrival of voting materials recorded in FCT. And that's not just in the FCT alone. We also had that in other parts of Nigeria. The details can be found on First Newspaper. We also have INEC shifts voting in 141 Bayelsa polling units to Sunday. We have the bold headline that says violence, killings, late arrival of voting materials, mass election as hoodlums kill 2 abduct INEC official at Edo polling unit. We also have another rider there that says gunmen raid Kogi polling units, kill voter. Voters flee polling units as Boko Haram strikes in Borno. We also have this one that says hoodlums invade Oba Elegushi Palace, snatch ballot boxes. We also have talks disrupt elections, steal 8 beavers machine in Delta, Katsina. We also have talks destroy ballot box in Ogun, governor's hometown. Commonwealth observers, civil society coalition express worry. This one already you begin to ask yourself, but it's coming from the observers of the election. We also have why voting began late. That's coming from INEC, and some of the reasons we had was security reasons, and you can get details on the first paper. We also have vote buying. ICPC arrests 9 persons in Oshun, Ondo, Borno, Akwa Ibom, Sokoto, and we give it to the ICPC. We also have Obi Springs surprises in Lagos. Buhari votes violate Electoral Act, displays ballots in public, explains why. Well, you can get details of the story on the first newspaper. We also have Tinubu sweeps 9 LGs in Ekiti. We have this one that says on violence, INEC cancels election at 7 units in Kogi. High voter turnout, late arrival of INEC officials at Lagos polling unit. Wike disappointed as Beavers fails to accredit him and wife. Wow. Begin to ask question, why? We thought all of this will have been sorted out, but that is coming on the first newspaper, and I think that INEC by now should have addressed that issue because it was since yesterday, and it's not just Wiki. We also have there was a video going viral by Kate Henson showing that her voter's card too was also not recognized by the Beavers, and they don't know what the reason is, but whatever it is, we hope that by now INEC must have attended to some of the people with these cases. We also have EFCC operatives spotted at Tinubu's polling unit ahead of voting. Wow. You want to ask why, but of course they are doing their work, and we had from the INEC the EFCC boss saying their men have been spread across the 36 states of the Federation ahead of the election. So they are doing their job. We have Obi scores 0 in Buhari's polling unit, loses to Tinubu in Obasanjo's unit. And then I think that's the last story on the first newspaper. So let's move to the next story.
Right, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper with the big story still. Nigeria decides. Despite Hitch's massive turnout as Nigerians elect new leaders, so we can see the 4 main contenders in the person of Tinubu of the APC, Peter Obi of Labour, Atiku of the PDP, and Kwankwaso of the NNPP. We can see them each, actually exercising their franchise. Still on the same Guardian newspaper, deployment of Beavers a master stroke. You can get the paper and read more on page 9. Elections outcome must not disunite Nigeria, says Shettima. And then we have Boko Haram attack Borno community, injures 5 voters. INEC postpone election in 141 polling units in Bayelsa. And downside of the paper, hashtag Nigeria decides 2023, time of sowing and reaping, and there are a lot of stories surrounding that, so you can read more on inside the paper and also on the back page of the Guardian newspaper, and that's all on the Guardian.
Okay, quickly, let me take this before we take a break. Sunday Standard says Nigeria decides. What next? And then you have Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, Kwankwaso, others battle for presidency. Massive voter turnout across states. Attention shifts to INEC. Lalong expect victory at Senate polls. Nigeria and future of governance. That is the much we can take on this Sunday today. And we want to go on a short break, and the news will come by 12. After that, we'll come and then we'll keep updating you. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you. We are glad to know that you are still with us, and then we'll continue with the papers. Then the news will come much later. And I have, I think we should go to the next paper, which is This Day.
Okay, moving straight to This Day newspaper. We have the bold headline that says Nigeria's moment of truth with the rider Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, Kwankwaso clash in historic poll. Of course, this is historic indeed, because looking at the preparedness, looking at how Nigerians are actually so determined to go out there to elect who emerge as their president and members of House of Representatives as well as Senate, you know that yes, this one is historic. And of course, we just hope that politicians and will allow this to be actually free, fair, and credible. Nobody will disrupt the process, so that at the end of the day, Nigerians are going to celebrate that yes, it is their verdict indeed. The next story here says on CBN reviews tenure limit of banks management executives, and it has the rider cumulative tenure limit of EDSL, DMDs, MDs, and NETs across the banking industry now 20 years. I know some people out there will be celebrating already. You can get details of that story on This Day newspaper. We also have UK considering barring spouses, children of international students. We want to know why. Check that on This Day newspaper. And I think that's all the story. The picture story there is showing Obi, Kwankwaso, Tinubu, and Atiku. So you can do well to grab This Day newspaper.
All right, let's take a look at the Sunday Telegraph newspaper. We are not aware of dumb PVCs. This is coming still from INEC, and you can read more of that on page 26. And we have the big story on Presidential National Assembly elections, violent, poor logistic mayor process. And the writer say as talks disrupt exercise, snatch ballot boxes in Lagos and others. We lost 5 beavers machine in Delta Castina attacks, coming still from INEC. ICPC arrests 9 persons for vote buying in 5 states. And still on the paper, we have Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, Kwankwaso vote at their polling unit yesterday, and we can see a picture story in relation to that. OBJ, GEJ, Abdul Salami, and others applaud the use of beavers. Buhari predict victory for party's flag bearer. Candidates upbeat about process. And we have APC, PDP boast of victory. Labour Party alleges refusal of INEC to upload Lagos and Delta results. And we have other stories here. Ebu Begu commander arrested with 2 rifle machete at polling units. You want to know more about all of the stories? You can do well by grabbing the Sunday Telegraph newspaper and read more story that is of interest to you.
Quickly, I go to Sunday Sun, and it has the story that says, Presidency, I have voted for my preferred candidate, Buhari. Then you have a rider that says, I am confident of winning, Atiku. I am too confident of victory, Tinubu. I am optimistic of victory, Kwankwaso. Only God knows who will emerge winner, says Obi. And you can check that on page 25 and 28 of Sunday Sun. And we have the big story here saying presidential poll, Obi shows strong strength in Lagos, Abuja, Southeast, South orders. And the writer says Northwest, Northeast results slow in coming. Nigerians wait with bated breath for full result. Late arrival of electoral officers, materials, malfunction, beavers, dog pools nationwide. Large voter turnout recorded across the across country, voters intimidation threat in Lagos, poor logistics, insecurity, protests, beavers, snatching, characterized polls, says INEC chairman. And then he said, postpone voting in 4 Bayelsa wards, and then says collation of presidential result begin today. And the picture story, you see President Muhammadu Buhari there after voting, displaying his voter's card, his voter's paper. And then you have Tinubu trying to cast his vote there. We have Peter Obi, we have Konkoso, and then you have Atiku in the picture story. If you are so interested in the Sunday Sun, you can check page 7, 8, 12, 25, 26, 27, and 28 to read more of the story on Sunday Sun.
All right, let's move straight to Sunday Punch newspaper, and we have the first story there that says Atiku, Tinubu, Kwankwaso, Obi win polling unit, boast of victory. And the rider there says Lawan, APC chair, failed to deliver units. Obi wins 10 units in Villa. Tinubu gets Obasanjo's unit. That story is found on page 4. And we have the another story there that says senior lawyers condemns Buhari's open display of ballot paper. And another story here said faded PVCs, number plates, growing lamentations over extortion by security agents. You want to know more on that story, you can check page 40 and 41 of the Sunday Punch. YFG should allow old 1,500 in circulation. Ex-finance minister, check page 34 and 35 for that story. We also have on March 11, 2023, it is no to Jagba politicians in Oyo.